What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/the Hardy Construction with your host, Comp, and
Gouda Cheese Boy.
Today's film is
Visitor Q, which was made in 2001.
Never Forget. Visitor Q 2001, directed by Takashi Miike, written by Itaru Era, starring Kenichi Endo, Shungiku Uchida, Kazushi Watanabe.
Look at him.
As well as Jun Muto, Fujiko, Shoko Nakahara, and Iko Suzuki. Storyline is:
look at this.
A troubled and perverted family find their lives intruded by a mysterious stranger who seems to help find a balance in their disturbing natures. They're telling the truth with that one. This is
pretty much the whole movie.
Came out in 2001. Why'd you pick this film, Danny?
I really like when we did the whole month of Takashi
Miike. Okay.
I really liked it. So I was I've never seen this one.
Yeah, I'd seen this a while back online. This is it's a film with some rightfully so, one of the more controversial films that Takashi Miike has done. Takashi Miike is one of my favorite directors of all time. I might not like every of his movies, but I give total props to the man because the guy tends to make like 6 to 8 movies a year.
This was made for like nothing too.
It was
$60,000,
and it looks good. Well, I mean, for what it is, it looks good for 2001. So Takashi Miike, if anybody knows who he is, he's a director. Like I just said, he does many different genres of film. I mean, we did a whole month of his stuff. I think Danny's favorite film is Gozu, of his.
Yeah,
mine is Ichi the Killer, which is also known as.
Ichi was awesome too.
Yeah, it is. It's a great movie. Koroshiya 1, which is based on a comic, which everyone should pause the podcast and listen and watch that film because it's amazing.
I feel like I wasn't a big fan of Happiness of the whatever.
Yeah, no. On second viewing, I was like, it's not as good as I remembered it. But it was there's still some goofy stuff, and it was basically a musical about a family that has people dying at their homestay hotel. But I can see why. But I don't think I remember what the other. Oh, we saw Audition, I think, which was a great movie.
Yeah, we saw Audition. That was a good
which I believe was might have been the first Takashi Miike film. It was either Ichi the Killer or Audition was the first movie that I saw.
Audition's definitely one of his most famous ones.
Either way, Takashi Miike is a director that I truly respect because he does whatever he wants, and whatever film that he does, you can totally tell it's his film. And he tries different methods. He always tries a different storyline, which I think is the kind of director I would want to be if I got anywhere professionally, is to just try and do different types of films like horror, comedy, the grand scale epic. A lot of people were hearing about him recently. A couple years ago, he did Hostel. He was in Hostel. He's as good as actor as Stephen King is, because in Hostel, since Japanese is his language, I don't think he knows English that much. But at least who's our guy? Who's the guy that I like? But he's been fucking up lately. The director of all those. The director of Hostel, Eli Roth.
Oh, Eli Roth.
Eli Roth actually dressed up as Kakihara, who was the blonde guy with the split mouth from Ichi the Killer for like Halloween. But he also put Takashi Miike in Hostel, and Takashi Miike was.
Prisoners are calling me asshole.
Yeah, this machine just called me an asshole. But Takashi Miike's line is because he's speaking, I guess, phonetically English. He goes, "In there, you could spend all your money," and I was like, "Oh boy." He's great. But anyway, Takashi Miike's films are amazing. And anyway, 13 Assassins, I believe it was a film of his that played and got a lot of, it was a samurai sort of epic, like a samurai war film, and a lot of people were like, whoa, this is the greatest, and then he just kept making movies. You should check it out. I wasn't as blown away as it was like anything else that he does, but I'm more into his perverted stuff. So Visitor Q was a film I saw years ago, and when I saw it, I was like, wow, this really did live up to the sort of grotesque hype that he did. And it's so funny with Visitor...
Definitely disturbing.
Yeah, and I'm glad you picked it, because I certainly was going to pick it eventually, but I didn't know whether it really fell into the lines of horror, but it does. Some parts of it actually is like pretty horrifying. But Visitor
some
Q,
really funny parts too.
It is. It's a hilarious film, and it makes you wonder about like Japanese culture. But it is not really surprising about Japanese culture. And it also gives you like mad respect and props to actors from different countries, because in this I can't really imagine American actors doing some stuff like this. Although I'm sure there are, because there's always like experimental theater.
They always fuck up when they try to do stuff like this.
Yeah, but I mean, like there's this experimental like think about what was that, what the fuck was that movie, The Human Centipede? Which is pretty grotesque. I mean, they went for it.
I never saw it because I have no interest.
Yeah, me neither. I don't really have an interest in that film, though. People say it's great. I saw parts of it, and I didn't give a shit about it, honestly. I give them props for trying it. Oh, that's... Hey, everybody, listen to that joke. So, with this film, Danny, what is the main crux of this film? What is the story about?
It seems to be about... like Adam's family type of like really dark family that the dad is fucking his own daughter, or the mom is like a heroin addict, the son beats the mom and then gets bullied, like just weird shit like this. And then this
I think the only
along.
person you can give a shit about is the mom in the film. I think as a nice
even
person,
though she's really fucked up too, but I kind of end up loving her at the end.
No, I like her a lot. It's just because I think everybody's shitting on her. There's a lot of like subtle shit in this film, even though it's very over the top, blatantly violent and gory and sexual. But the mother is going through a lot. Let's just go a little bit through it, because this film is a lot about, I think, it has to deal obviously with family issues and how you take shit home with you. You know how like the world kind of shits on you and you just kind of lay it over on your family.
I'm just so happy for the mom at the end.
Like, me too.
Really comes into her own.
There's sexual hang-ups. She really does. But the film starts out obviously with it's shot like with mini digital cameras. But it doesn't take away from the film for me. But I guess it's because I'm thinking it's 2001, so I'm like, it didn't take away from me that it's semi sort of.
It's definitely noticeably low quality.
Yeah, it's like semi documentary. Although I didn't really take it that way, but that's how they kind of explain. That's how they kind of describe this film in a lot of.
Well, the dad, I guess the dad's like a reporter.
Yeah.
Or something.
So the dad's a reporter. But it starts out with with a question on screen. Have you ever done it with your dad? And the father is having sex with his daughter at the very beginning of the film. And isn't that like for me to tell people listening to this episode? Obviously, hopefully you've watched the film if you're listening to this. But the father is obviously having a sexual relationship with his daughter, who's a prostitute. He does it unwillingly, and I mean it's like a graphic sex scene. I don't think they actually had sex.
She is hot though, in his defense.
She's very pretty.
I'm just joking.
Shoko Nakahara is, I believe, playing the daughter Asako Murata. Is it? No, she's not. No, I'm sorry. It's Fujiko, who's playing Miki Yamazaki, who's the daughter. And the father, Keinichi Endo, is this guy. I've seen him in a lot of Japanese films. Maybe I've seen him in a lot of Takashi Miike films, but I've certainly seen him in a lot of Japanese films. And
he was in Gozu.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. He reminds me, for some reason, to me, he's like the Willem Dafoe of Japanese movies, because I've seen him in so many things, and he has like a particular look to him. And listen, all the actors in this film, they have to have like the biggest props. I said like props 9 times, but they really need the congratulations for going the distance in this film for what they did.
Did some pretty fucked up stuff.
I mean, it's like, and you can throw it because your actors have to be fearless, if they want to do stuff. I know actors that, like, personally, that won't kiss somebody else on film because they're dating somebody else in real life, and I'm like, well, what do you expect to do in a movie? Play a fucking, play like a asexual person in every movie you're gonna do for the rest of your life? You can't do that shit.
They censor the kiss.
Yeah, some way like that. But anyway, but Kenichi Endo, the scene with his daughter, it's funny because they use very AV, which is I think Japanese AV, adult video, sort of censoring of their genitals, that they blur out their genitals just like Japanese.
Well, they do that in like the porn I've even seen.
Right. So I think that's what they were doing, which is actually I think a pretty neat way to censor out porn. To censor out porn, to censor out porn in a regular film. I doubt they really had sex in this film. Anybody had sex in this film, but there's certainly things where you're like, well, that really happened, because there's a part where
they're sucking on her tits and stuff.
Yeah, sucking on tits, which I've seen in Western films. I've seen people actually sucking on breasts in Western films, but like there's a part where the father is with the corpse of his ex-coworker, and he's actually like fondling her like genitals, like with his hand. Like he, when if you, I don't know. I heard about this. Like when you have sex with women, I've never had sex with a woman in my life, so I have no idea. But apparently, you're supposed to spit on your hand and rub their crotch area because
when they're
I don't know.
dead.
I thought girls had penises too, since I never seen a girl naked, but I'm not sure. But apparently, like in the film, he actually does it. See, Danny, that was a joke about that guy who did all those children's books. Okay, so but like he actually is like rubbing his hand on her groin in that scene. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? I was like, well, I guess they really did. I mean, like the actors really.
She might have been wearing like one of those.
Could be, yeah.
Things
Yeah, you're right.
Something.
Could be. But yeah, so the first scene starts out with the father having sex with his daughter, and I love the fact that they actually had a squirting sound effect when he ejaculates.
It was pretty. Stupid. There was some really nasty stuff in this. It was like kind of making me uncomfortable.
It was a kind of what?
It was making me uncomfortable at points.
Really? Why?
Well, because it's like just like it's a little fucked up. Like the whole like killing the coworker scene was kind of fucked up. I mean,
for sure.
It was definitely fucked up. But then also the whole idea of like the son beating the mom. It was kind of done in like a dark comedy sort of way, but it is.
Yeah, this is certainly a black comedy. I think there's tinges of drama in it, dark, fucked up, drama. But they find the
like
humor
when he
in
had
it.
The umbrella in the milk scene. That was amazing.
This is truly, to me, this is an art house film on the level of, and I'm not saying as like beautiful looking, but it certainly is an art house film as same as like, what was that movie with Willem Dafoe that we were talking about where he?
Oh, Antichrist.
Yeah, Antichrist, where his wife was hitting him in the dick with a hammer or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh god, that was the worst.
But yeah, this is certainly an art house film. Like, this is an art house film compared to, what was that that shitty one that we saw? Something of Trees or Frog Lake or whatever the fuck was that? Remember the kids that were high on drugs?
Toad Road.
Toad Road, like that. Like, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking when I picked that film, but that's trying to be like art house mumblecore shit.
I hated that movie.
I think
that was actually Spectre Vision, which is shocking because
shame on them. But this is an art house movie, but it's mainstream enough with its bizarreness that it's like a regular person could watch this and just be like, what the fuck?
You know what it turned around for me was when the mom started cutting the zucchini.
Oh, that was great. So let's talk about the mother. The mother played by
she's my favorite character.
She's great, yeah. Shungiku Uchida. Because I think anybody who has an actual decent relationship with their mother will be horrified with this film because she's essentially abused by her son, who is abused by kids in his school. So he like comes in and he just
Kiko.
I guess
her name's Kiko.
Yeah, Keiko. So Keiko. she gets whipped by him by what are those? I thought they were like sort of
they were like rug beaters.
Is that what they were? Okay, right. Yeah, you're right. Because that's what they have in Japan. I kept thinking of fly swatters, but human fly swatters because he was just knocking the shit out of her, and because she can't deal with it at home, obviously she is feeling
heroin.
She's like the lowest on the totem pole of this family. So obviously there's her worth as a human being and as a woman, and I think that's what she regains at the end of the film. She regains a sense of being a woman and being wanted.
Because Visitor Q, I guess, makes her a mother again by giving her breast milk.
Yeah, I think it was funny because let's get to him in a second, but. The mother obviously she actually prostitutes herself to get money to get heroin because she shoots up heroin. Bizarre, for some reason, I was like, I thought heroin, I don't know what kind of heroin they were shooting because I think usually, when we see it in films, heroin turns brown when you're cooking it on the spoon. I think just didn't have the special effects for it because it was basically white. Unless they got good heroin in Japan that stays white when you shoot it up. By the way, anybody who can take legal heroin, it's good stuff, right, Danny? Because
oh yeah,
what was morphine? Yeah. I was on morphine once.
No, I took morphine when I was in the hospital.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, like not illegally, but I had to be on morphine once for some surgery. Man, it was the greatest. Then I was like, wow, no wonder people take this shit. It was great. The second time they didn't give me as much, so it wasn't as good. But holy cow, no wonder people do heroin.
I'd never ever want to go near it. Because
I wouldn't want to do it. Touch it. I wouldn't touch that shit like in the street, like normal as a regular person. Ever. Don't do that. But if you happen to have like,
if you ever give you morphine, stone like me.
Oh my god, it's great. It's fantastic. No wonder people do it. But we don't say you should do that.
We don't
anyway.
promote this.
So the mother, there was also obviously stuff when the mother has, I think they were towards the end. Like I think when she was wanting to fuck Visitor Q, but that's when he just gave her the power to get her breast milk back, which was pretty funny. What I was kind of disappointed is the daughter didn't have much of a role in this film. She was sort of just to get fucked in the beginning and then come back at the end.
What's his thing with breast milk? Because he had that in Gozu too. Remember
I think what that is, okay, right. What I think it is the mother feeling like needed or feeling feminine again. I don't know if that sounds like a sexist sort of terminology, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Like I think
she felt like a mother, like mother.
Yeah, I think that when she came into the mother role, that there was no more like nobody was looking at her in a sexual way or in a way that they needed her because the son was kicking her ass. Stuff like that. And okay, so also now the son, played by Jun Muto, this was his only film. He is a piece of shit. Like he's just a scumbag. And it's because he gets his ass kicked by, I guess, these 3 students from his school, and they just constantly kick his ass. Yeah, they go to his house at night and they shoot fireworks into this window. And it's like a funny visual, but it's actually a pretty cool visual of just these fireworks completely destroying his house, and the family just walks around, like the mother just walks out of the room whenever it happens. It's pretty funny.
The best part was when the dad is trying to videotape the son getting bullied. Like he's not even trying to help the son, and then like all the fireworks are coming in the house, and he's like, "This is my wife. My son is getting bullied." Like
Kanichi's end though is so fucking funny in this movie because he's playing like a huge loser. But he's unaware. He's aware that he's a loser, but he's like unaware that he's a loser at the same time.
Like as he's coming, he's talking about the daughter as he's fucking the corpse.
He's like, look at this great bullying. Look at this beautiful bullying. It's so fucking funny because he's a loser himself. He obviously one of the a scene that I completely forgot about when I saw it. I was like, holy shit! Is he was a guy who was like He used to be, I guess, a morning show guy or a news investigative reporter with his coworker.
Oh, and then he got raped by the teenagers.
He tries to talk to these young guys, and they shove a microphone up his ass. And I really think they did shove a microphone up his ass in the scene. It's a very graphic scene.
It looked like it was.
It looked like it penetrated his asshole, because, I mean, it was, like, really there. But, I mean, it's just so funny, because he basically got fired because he decided to air that video on...
Could you imagine?
It's just funny because what he wants, I guess, is he wants the truth. He wants to be a real, like, investigative journalist. But if you show somebody putting a microphone up your asshole, that might be a little bit too much.
But
for
then
people.
he's trying to win back his glory, so he's gonna like set up a scene where he protects his son.
Yeah, and there's a part where there's a part obviously when he murders his ex coworker because I think she's having an affair on him. That's why I didn't, I understood why the mother was like having prostitution and falling into drugs because her fucking husband's basically fucking everybody else. And what's funny is that he's a loser and he's still getting laid. But he kills.
They didn't say he fucks the coworker, did he?
She says, "I don't love you anymore" in the car.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So she did have an affair with him at some time. And I guess once he lost his job, she just lost respect for him. This is basically a family that nobody respects them at all. But anyway, so he kills her. And listen, this is a movie that will, as quote unquote, as I hate the phrase, it will trigger people because there's so much non-PC shit going on in this film. It just doesn't give a fuck about offending anybody.
This is not a movie for the sensitive.
Yeah, fuck them anyway. But like he kills her and he essentially rapes her corpse. And it's just like anybody else who, like, if you had no idea if you had no sense of humor, you'd be like, what the fuck watching this movie? But even the part when he's having sex with, and it's like an extended sex scene where he's having sex with this woman's corpse.
I just love the way he's describing the longevity of his sex.
Because she was making fun of him for coming too quick. Or he was actually calling back to his daughter who,
I think he was calling back to the daughter.
What did she call him? She called him, oh shit, I forgot the phrase that she used some fucking phrase. You can find this movie. It's very hard to find streaming, but you can online. Anyway, he was like referencing that, and he's just like narrating into a videotaping himself having sex with this dead woman's body. And then he goes, oh, the mystery of life, she's still getting wet. And then he like puts his hand down and she shit on him. Her body like released its bowels. And it's just the way that it's played out is so fucking funny. Because he goes, "This isn't mystery, it's shit," and he just like has a big wad of shit in his hand.
I love when the mom is like, no, she smells, like as she's freeing him from.
Yeah, I
the
know.
rigor
It's just so bizarre. Like I thought, Happiness of the Katakuris would sort of be like this, but I don't think like watching this. It's just a strange film because there's like the part where the mother gains respect for herself, you know.
Yeah,
like because her son's been kicking her ass, so the son like hits her, and she's like, "Never say never" in the face. She goes into the kitchen, comes out with a knife, chops up a cucumber, and then throws the fucking knife at her son. And it's like I was like, yes, when I saw that, because I wanted her to kick his fucking ass for just being so ungrateful.
That was very Addams Family.
It was so good, and then it leads to a scene where his bullies come out. And the family has unification because the father and the mother run out and they murder these high school bullies.
I love when the kid tries to run and the mom's waiting for him.
Yeah, she just throws like a ninja star. She throws a knife at him and kills him. Oh no, it wasn't. It was like a sort of
a screwdriver. It was a
yeah,
screwdriver.
right. But it's like so. It's so. What is it when you're relieved with the scene? I'm sorry. I forget the phrase. Whatever, it's so like cathartic when that shit happens, and you see the family, they all feel better about themselves, and they decide like cheerfully, like they're gonna just chop up all the bodies and bury it. What he's gonna do with that footage, I have no idea. If he's gonna indict himself or something, but like there's a part where
imagine he releases it, he might.
Yeah, I know. Where the father has sex with the dead reporter, and then his penis gets stuck because of rigor mortis. So they go inside of a bathtub. And me explaining this, I mean, obviously hope you've seen this. If not, just watch it anyway, because there's no way you can spoil this film because it's so fucked up you won't believe what we're saying. And the wife is like helping him by putting vinegar inside the bathtub, and then she shoots him up with heroin, and you actually hear a sound effect of his penis loosening from the vagina. It's just so good. Like, this is a great movie. I mean, it's but really I mean, you really have to be like aware of who you show this film to or who you recommend it to, because they might think you're just the most fucked up person ever. But it's great. It's a film. I hope that there's more films like this. But it's such
it's pretty obvious that there's humor in it. Like if you show somebody a Serbian film, they might think you're like a sick pedophile.
But it's most certainly a Japanese film because it has this Japanese feeling to it, just like this area is such a rigid area and it's all about work and these people are doing the most fucked up bizarre things, and you expect it sort of from the underground Japanese lifestyle, like comics and sexuality and shit. But okay, so let's just to not like gloss over him, but the visitor Q is this guy who has like this bushy hair and he wears like he actually has a pretty nice like clothing style. Like he has this tight
he's
shirt,
actually really cool.
And he's actually like a cool guy, and he has leather pants. He's almost like Kakihara from Ichi the Killer if he wasn't killing people, but he hits them over the head with a giant rock. And I think what it is he's almost like hitting knocking these people their senses back into their fucking head, because he does it to the daughter as well.
Yeah, and, at the end they reunite, which is nice. So he's basically a force of nature that is making this family like almost like when you make a dog, you treat a dog away so it doesn't shit on the floor or something. It's almost like he's training them all to not be pieces of shit anymore, to open their eyes. I love how unreactive he is to everything happening there.
It's so funny when they first come into the house and the son sees him and he's like, more, like, just give me more rice so I can eat more food. And the son's afraid to hit the mother, and he goes, no, go ahead, carry on. It's just like, what the fuck? When he goes into the son's room and puts him in a headlock and starts smelling him, and you're like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? But he's like he's a cool character. Just talking about this film, like, I really love.
He's like a good guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a good guy. He's like, because you think he's a piece of shit, but you got to realize the family that he's dealing with, except for the mother, because he didn't really hurt the mother, but he hurt. He was like, he didn't even hurt the son. Honestly, yeah, he helped the mother. And there's a whole extension about milking and stuff. Like me, I don't understand. Like, there's people that fetishize.
The whole floor was full of milk at the end.
But it was milk, and also her like vagina juices on the floor too, because it was leaking out of her between her legs in the scene. So it was really her waking up, being a sexual being again, and being a mother again. That part where the father had sex with the daughter. And then he came back home and she was trying to give him a blowjob. She like licked his genitals, and she, for some reason, like psychically or could tell that her daughter, the father had sex with the daughter. And then he
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, I'm not in the mood," and he goes into the bed completely dressed under the sheets. It's like fucking funny, man. This movie's genius. Like, it's just so funny because it's like you don't see movies like this. Like, how could you think a film like with this premise? Like, what kind of film would it be? Like, where's
Really?
where's the ABC storyline? And it all is an internal storyline. But
Yeah,
like
makes
these,
sense.
the writer and the director put together a film that's so bizarre, but it doesn't stray away, sort of like Katakuris or something else. You know,
Well,
it isn't.
apparently it was just. I'm reading a little thing here saying it was a low-budget exercise to explore the benefits afforded by low-cost digital video.
Yeah, it was actually a part of an 8-film series that showed we can make money by putting these films straight to video. And I can imagine, like, just watching this is going, holy shit! Like I can imagine what the other films were compared to this one, you know. So
Right.
I mean, it certainly is like Takashi Miike, like when he lets loose, I guess. And I bet you with this film, you can tell he was interested in the material, because I'm sure there's
Yeah.
other films where you're like, yeah, he doesn't give a fuck.
Well,
he's
every
just directing
single
them.
film I've seen of his so far I like, but he doesn't only do horror. He does other stuff.
No, he doesn't. He
too.
does everything. And like you can tell. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I love Takashi Miike's work. He's just so fucking cool. He's like one of those directors that I'm not like. It's not like being like stuck up by mentioning his name, because he's done so many different types of films. But it's like a
Yeah.
cool director to like cite, because there's always like Christopher Nolan or David Fincher or James Cameron. Those are like the big top kind of Hollywood directors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this guy's like kind of virtually unknown in America. And I think he was supposed to do a film with Tom Hardy, who was Bane from the Batman films, but I guess they kind of canceled that film, which sucks because I want to see him, with an American film, but who knows how
Right.
that'll work out. But anyway, with this film, I would give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Coming home as an ex-prostitute daughter and seeing your father sucking the breast of your mom, and she invites you to come under the tarp for some milk.
Okay. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Chopping into your son's bully's head and sawing back and forth while very happily screaming.
And just looking the expression of the super bully, his face when he had that screwdriver on his fucking forehead is great. Also, there's a great nice little nice little song at the end of the film. Like when it cuts to the thing, it's like, yeah, it feels good. Like this is a movie that, as bizarre and fucked up as it is, makes you feel better about yourself after you watch it.
It's kind of like, in a bizarre way, it's kind of like heartwarming. Like
It is. It's very.
film.
I seriously think it is, because I was like, what, this family got together, they got through the
Like,
hardships.
it sounds like, I mean, everything we're saying, everything that happens is really fucked up and
Yeah.
disturbing. But it's just, like, lovable somehow.
It's a beautiful film, and it's like you watch them Addams Family, and you're fine,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. But this is truly like a horrifying family, and Takashi Miike has made a film that's made it super enjoyable and super like. You want you root for these despicable characters when they get back together and they're fine. You know what I mean? By the end, the son is like, I'm going to take.
The only thing it takes away
seriously.
from it, but this is part of the purpose of it, is the low budget quality of the film. But I mean, for $60,000, good job.
Yeah, very good job. Anyway, with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Red wax wrapping.
The horror deconstruction.